Alright folks, so if you found this video, you've probably got a pretty serious injury on your hands. Haha, no pun intended. Um, and yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that. My heart goes out to you because this is something that's pretty terrible, but we're gonna make it through this together. And my purpose in making this video is to show support for folks that are dealing with this kind of thing, and just to give a little bit of feedback from a person who's already been there, and maybe just tell you some things that that you wouldn't hear from another person, or that you wouldn't necessarily hear from a doctor. So my previous video, which you may or may not have seen, was what was going on around the 5 week mark. I'm now about 5.5 months post operation. And if you haven't watched the previous video and you're wondering what's even going on, it's in the title. Anyways, um, uh, in a machete accident, I sliced my finger almost completely off. I stopped at the bone, but I severed my flexor tendon and my digital nerve. So your flexor tendon is what allows your fingers to do this. It's what allows your thumb to bend like this. And your digital nerve, there's two nerves that kind of go up each finger, and those provide sensation. Every finger has two digital nerves. Your digital nerve from your thumb uh, branches out to these three fingers. All three goes down here. It's called the median nerve, and that's more information than I really need to get into in this video. So anyways, they sewed the nerve back together. They sewed the tendon back together. They anchored the tendon into the bone with a titanium anchor, and they had to sew it up through the back of my knuckle right there. Um, then my hand was immobilized like this for about 2 months. I can't remember at this point, 2 months, 3 months, something like that, which basically caused my entire hand to atrophy. My wrist, I had no strength in my wrist. I could not support my weight. It was hard to get out of chairs and stuff like this. I had no strength in my hand. I could barely make a fist. I couldn't squeeze things. I had arthritis in all of my knuckles, so every day my hand was hurting. It felt like my hand had been slammed in a door. It was just throbbing every day, just because of that atrophy. So I've managed to work my way back, from those sympathetic type of injuries. So at this point today, 5 months in, I pretty much have full strength back in my hand. Um, my knuckles don't hurt as much. I think in the last video I talked about some weird sensations that I had going on here in this finger. This finger feels pretty much normal now. Yeah, so that hypersensitivity that I had in this finger for some reason has gone back to normal. Um, these two knuckles are still a little bit arthritis-y, but it comes with the territory. Um, and the way I've worked my strength back into my hand is I kind of keep a lot of squeezy toys around, and I just squeeze them all the time. The other thing is I have very little strength here in my thumb. At this point, I'm not able to bend my thumb yet, like this, even though everything is reattached. This motion here is controlled by one completely separate tendon and muscle. So I was always able to do this. Even the moment I cut it, I was still able to do this. But the bending function doesn't work by itself. So this right here is called blocking, when you hold the joint and bend it. And I do have that much motion, which is a big deal, because I tried to get this for so long. And it hurts when I do this, but I am able to do this, and it took a lot of work just to get that far. Um, so 5.5 months, that's what I got. I don't know why I can't bend it when it's like this, and I can only bend it with blocking. I asked the doctors, and they say, "Oh, it's just scar tissue." I'm like, "What does that mean? Why, why isn't it working?" Another thing, this joint is very stiff. So even when I manually bend it, it feels kind of crunchy, and it's a lot of resistance going on there. So I'm constantly working this, like, at all times. I'm always bending my thumb. I'm always pushing it down, always holding it. I don't know if that helps or not, but I'm just constantly doing this. And then when I'm driving, I'm constantly doing this. And this is good right here, because even though I can't bend my thumb, it's still putting pressure on that muscle. And one day, if I ever do get that functionality back, that muscle won't be completely dead. I will have at least some strength to get things working again, right? Whereas if I wasn't trying, I don't think there would be any hope at this point. So at least I'm trying to get that strength back and maintain that muscle somehow. If you don't move a muscle for a week, I mean, that thing just like disappears. I don't know where it goes. It's just gone. So you can't just sit back and, you know, wait until things heal up. You've got to actively heal. Sensation wise, pretty much for the first 3 months, maybe even 4 months, post op, I had hypersensitivity here in this finger, and it's gotten less and less over time because of some things that I was doing. But I mean, this thing was so sensitive, it was like more sensitive than your eyeball. A drop of water hit my thumb one time when I was in the shower, and it felt like somebody just smashed my hand with a hammer, but worse. It was very difficult for the physical therapist to do their job because I would rip my hand away if they tried to touch my hand, and they had to massage it out. It was just extremely painful. So one of the ways that I kind of dulled down that hypersensitivity is I had a vibrating back massager, and I would just hold my finger on it, for a few minutes every day. And after a few weeks, it calmed down a lot. I could probably still do a little bit more of that because I have some hypersensitivity still. It's very painful if I grab something quickly, and it just really doesn't feel good. I don't have a lot of confidence grabbing things like cups and stuff because just this sensation is just really weird, and I don't have a lot of strength here. So if I'm holding a glass cup, I'm always afraid that I'm going to drop it because I can't really tell what's going on here when I do this, and sensing the weight and how much grip I have, I really just don't have much confidence using this hand anymore because of where my thumb is at. So back to the sensation thing, expectation wise, I put off making this video for a long time because I was going to try and describe the sensations that I feel. Some days I want to describe it as numb, sometimes I want to describe it as hypersensitive. It can't be both at the same time. Basically, the way I'll put it is, I could spend a half hour describing to you what I feel and how it doesn't feel right, but I'm just going to sum that up by saying I do feel things where the damage occurred, but it's all wrong. It's not correct. If I put cold right here, I feel it down here. I don't think I feel warm. This is like nail scratching a chalkboard. This is horrible, absolutely horrible. Light touches and fabric. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. I can squeeze my hand. That feels normal. And then there's some things I just don't feel. So I don't really know how to explain that. I hope and pray that it goes back to normal, but I don't know. I clipped that nerve, and it has to, even though they've sewn it back together, it still has to regrow, and a nerve grows something like 1 millimeter per month, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of what I'm going through there. I forgot to mention the cold. As far as hypersensitivity goes, the cold is absolutely terrible when it comes to this. Just being outside, if it's 40 degrees, 30 degrees, even lower, just the wind hitting this, just the cold air, anything more than a minute, it feels like I'm being forced to hold an ice cube. Like, it kind of reminds me of the days back when we used to ride our bikes and it'd be cold outside and we would ride until we couldn't even take our hands off the handlebars. It's worse, and it happens very quickly. So the cold is really, really unbearable with this type of nerve hypersensitivity. So let's talk about swelling, right? I had swelling for a long time. My finger is like a completely different shape now. It's kind of weird. They don't even, yeah. My finger's a completely different shape now. But anyways, it was really swollen. And it was swollen for like 4 months. And I would go to the doctor and I'd be like, hey, is this normal? And they'd be like, oh yeah, I don't know. The swelling should have gone down by now. So, I started wearing a compression device maybe after the first month to try and push that down. I don't know if it worked or long term or short term or what it was actually doing. I know when I took it off, my thumb would look kind of like it does now. And if I left it off all day, my thumb would blow back up. Eventually, the swelling did leave. I don't think I have any swelling now. I think, this little hump right here is just scar tissue that's going on. It might be inflammation. I don't really know what's going on in there. I just know it hurts. So swelling wise, I did the ice, every day, multiple times per day. I did the compression, I did the heat, I did all of that stuff, just to try and get it to come down, and it just wasn't coming down. So at some point within the last month, it started to look a little bit more normal after I stopped wearing the compression. So physical therapy wise, some of the exercise they have me do is tendon glides. That's moving your hand like this a lot. That's just to keep everything mobile, keep everything from just getting stale and stagnant. Things like this just keeps everything moving around. I'll have different exercises where I pick stuff up and move it around, and that was actually really difficult because I have to do it differently now. It doesn't really look that different, but I can't use my finger the same way. It just doesn't work the same way. So picking stuff up with two fingers is just really difficult. A month ago, I was eating nachos out of a basket, and each one, took a lot of brain power to pick up, put it in my mouth, and I was really excited that I was able to actually do that, because prior to that, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Strength-wise, these nail clippers, like I have to hold them like this right now. Super weird, just because it'd be painful to hold it any other kind of way. And I don't have enough strength to actually clip my nails with this hand. So that's really interesting. I have to do like weird stuff to cut my nails. Therapy-wise, let's talk about therapy again. I've been using this thing, which is something like a scraper tool. They have a different one, but they have one that's shaped like a hook, but it's basically the same thing. And this is absolutely horrible, folks, but I have to sit here and I have to like mash down on this scar tissue. Like, I gotta put pressure on it, and it's the worst thing I've ever experienced. But that's supposed to flatten out all of the scar tissue and allow me to have more mobility in the future. So I suffer through it and I do it. The other thing is like moisture and lubrication. I keep Vaseline around and just kind of keep it on the scars here. I do a lot of massaging, constantly bending my thumb, hoping that that's doing something for it. When I say constantly, I mean like at all times. If I don't have something in my hands, this is me. If you see me, I'm probably doing this, or I'm probably doing this, So I know I was kind of all over the place there in that video, but like I said, I just kind of wanted to capture what it's like at this point in the process. That way, maybe one day I can look back and I can say, hey, I was only able to do this, and maybe one day I'll be able to do this again. Who knows? But yeah, the important part is the psychological toll, guys. You gotta stay positive, and you just gotta know that there's still a way forward. You can still live a normal life, but you have to accept that things are gonna change. Things are always gonna change no matter what, and whether you expect it to change or not. And if you jacked up your hand, things are gonna be different now for you. But that doesn't mean that you gotta stop. You're just gonna have to adjust. You have to figure out how to make it work, and reach out to me, and definitely share some words with you. We can talk. We can do whatever. Leave me a message. I might need somebody to talk to too. So let me know what you think. Leave me some feedback, and I don't know. Maybe I'll make another update in 6 months, a month, when something changes. I don't know. But I hope that this video reaches somebody and it's able to help somebody out. That's pretty much it. Catch you on the next one.